Okay, कर.
And we are live.
All right. So as human beings, what one of the parameters that makes us human beings is the fact that we have urges and then we have satisfaction. Okay. We have an urge to drink water, an urge to get a hug, an urge to have a 5-bedroom apartment, an urge to drive a big car. We'll always have these urges. So there is this whole continuum of going from this urge. Can you see my marker, or do I change the ink?
It's okay. I can see.
Okay. I think I'll change the ink. It'll be a little better. So we have this urge. Is my size proper?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. And from this urge, I come back and let's say there is a satisfaction. So I get this urge in my life. There's this urge in my life, and this urge is telling me that this urge is telling me that I am feeling thirsty. I want to drive a car. So there's this urge. And the moment this urge comes in, I got to take some steps in order to live my urge. And if I live my urge, if I fully do everything to live that urge, then probably I may reach satisfaction. But sometimes in our life, we don't fully live this urge. In between these urges, we install our blocks, because of which we don't let the urge and the satisfaction meet. In this session, we're going to talk about these blocks that we have installed. Okay, and the reasons why we've installed these blocks. Okay, and from where these blocks are coming in. Okay, so far, are we clear what's happening? So far, any doubts, anybody?
No, it's okay. We have some
Yeah.
participants, so I would welcome Karishma, Ashwin, and Simfong. And Karishma can participate if it's about audio. So if you need someone to react, then he's here. And also Ashwin is saying yes, it's clear.
Thank you, Ashwin. So it's very important that we know what are we doing. Okay, sometimes I feel hunger. And let's talk of biological urges, hunger, I want to urinate. Let's talk of emotional urges, like I want a hug, I want to spend time with you, etc. Let's talk of physical urges, like I want to have that car, I want to have that hug, I want to have certain things. So there are urges at different levels. Sometimes there are intellectual urges. Okay, I want to participate in something, I want to contribute into something. Sometimes there are identity urges. Okay, sometimes there are environmental urges. So our urges are categorized into different categories. Okay, now when we step into these urges of our lives, sometimes we tell ourselves it's not possible. Sometimes we tell ourselves, what will they say? Sometimes we tell ourselves, will I be able to do it? Sometimes we tell ourselves. These different blocks that we install, are the blocks that will take us away from satisfaction. And we very consciously install these blocks. And let's talk of a few blocks that we normally install. Let's talk about a few blocks that we, as human beings, we install. Sometimes we are lucky that we know that there are blocks because we install them, we know them, therefore we can change them. But sometimes these blocks are clinical. Sometimes these blocks are so installed in our nervous system at a much early stage that we don't know it's a part of our system. Am I clear? What we're going to refer over here are the blocks that we have installed, that we are aware of, and that we can change. But then there are many blocks because of clinical situations, because of other parameters, which we cannot change. And we are not talking about that. Clear with what I'm saying here? Okay, good. So let's look at one of the block. There's an urge for a person to cry, and we all recognize that. Just give me 1 minute, just 1 minute. Sorry, there was somebody at the door there. Okay, so so let's say this client wants an urge, or let's say somebody is yelling at the client. Okay, the principal comes in, looks at the student and yells at the student, or the father is yelling at the student. Okay, and when this is happening, what is the obvious response the child should give? The child should feel bad, the child should cry, but imagine the child is laughing at that time, like, huh. Imagine the child is laughing at that time. Now, this we know is an inappropriate response, and that means there is an internal urge that's come up, but this child does not recognize that urge. And for some reason, there is a clash in what the body wants and what the response is. Now, these are desensitizations. Sometimes, are we desensitized? The question to ask is, are we desensitized in our life? Like I'm really hungry, but I'm trying to get emotional needs from somewhere else. Like I need emotional needs, but I'm trying to fill it with food. Like I didn't get sex, therefore I'm using that for anger. Are we using one for another to compensate, to substitute, and to continue our existence with that? Well, that's the first one, to know that. Are we unaware of the urge, that we blocked it so early that now we are using another response or another mechanism to sustain that? Am I clear here? Am I clear here? Any questions on this?
No, I think it's clear. I'm asking the people in the room, Carrie, Ashwin, Karishma, Sinfong, do you have any questions
on
so
this,
far?
or are you getting this clear?
It's a good for now, sir. No question.
Good. Thank you. Thank you. The other reason why people sometimes don't live up to their urge is the introjection. Let's say a student sitting in the classroom wants to go and pee, wants to urinate, but the student feels that if I go to urinate right now, what will these people think? What will be my impression in front of the others that I'm going to pee? The student. So this is thinking, this is projecting. The student is projecting out what the others will think. And simultaneously comes the introjection. So introjection and projections are another reason why a person will not live up to the urge. And introjections are all the musts, all the shoulds that we have installed in our life, that I must listen to the teacher, I should sit in the classroom, I should not leave the classroom and go out, I should be able to listen. So these are all the introjections. Clear? Now, introjections and projections are reasons why we don't reach satisfaction in our life. Introjections and projections. Let's take some introjections, some practical daily introjections. There's an urge for you to have, say, $10,000 a month. But now the introjection comes, I should not have it. How can I have it? It's not possible to have it. So these are the introjections, the automatic, continuous conversations that we have. Clear? Clear? Yeah. And sometimes we bat others' need for our need. Let's say the client goes to a restaurant. Let's say you and I, we both go to a restaurant and I feel like having a tiramisu cheesecake. But I really like to have a tiramisu cheesecake. In my head, I'm thinking I want to have a tiramisu cheesecake. But say Andrea, she orders a chai tea. Okay, she orders a chai. And I am saying, okay, Andrea, me also, I'll have a chai. Now, what did I do here? I kept others' need over my need. This is another reason how and why we block our urges. So how do we block our urges? We create these problems in our life, and then we magnify that and consider it to be true. And then we suffer, and we keep away from that, that satisfaction that is due to us. Does it create stress if we stop or block that urge? It does create, but hold on to that. One of the other way how people stop satisfaction is with a concept of killing the satisfaction. Let's say Andrea and we go out and I have the tiramisu cheesecake. And the moment I'm eating the tiramisu cheesecake, it's so tasty and it's melting in my mouth. And I'm like, oh my God. But then I'm telling myself, shit, so much calories. I will have to work an extra day tomorrow. This is so fattening. I will never lose. You know, how did I kill the satisfaction? I killed the satisfaction by having that egotism, that conversation against what I'm enjoying. So that means on the track of life, on the trajectory of life, how constantly we recognize our urges and how constantly we are stopping that satisfaction. Are you aware of the different ways how you stop your satisfaction? Are you aware of the different ways in which you have an urge that's coming up from the body, but then how you bring the ego to suppress that? Now, we are not talking of one cycle because we are living in multiple cycles at the same time. So let's say as I'm talking to you right now, I have an urge to probably complete the syllabus, but at the same time, I know it's 1:30 here in India, so I have to have lunch. But I also know, well, I'm also having a sore throat, so I need hot water. So simultaneously, there are multiple urges coming in our lives. We are not living in a linear world where we have one urge, we complete that, we go to another urge. And sometimes because we are living in these multiple urges, it's like a pendulum, right? There's a pendulum here, which is telling me drink water. There's something else, which is telling me, oh, pay the installment of the house. There's something else saying that, oh my God, you've not had sex for 2 days. Something else, you didn't urinate. There's something else saying that, oh, you're also hungry. These multiple pendulums, which are constantly moving in the field, and you are here in the center. And while this is happening, how do we decide which one to take into consideration? How do we decide which one to address, which one to delay, which one to procrastinate, which one to avoid? How do we make those decisions? If those decisions are coming from the blocks, then we are creating introjections. Okay, I'm up for questions. Any questions?
Let's ask the audience. So I had one question about whether it's creating stress.
It does create stress, but because it's creating a stress. Okay, now look at the stress. Let's assume a student sitting in the class wants to go and urinate, but he is telling himself, I cannot urinate because the teacher will not like it. So this child sitting in the class is already having two stress. Stress one of urine, and now he's created another stress. If I go and face that, then the teacher is not going to feel bad. He's going to not going to feel good. So there is going to be a stress even if this child urinates. There's going to be a stress even if the child does not urinate. Imagine a little boy growing up was constantly told, don't cry. This little boy, while growing up, was constantly told, don't cry. And every time he cried, his father would have thrashed him. So in life, when he grew up, when there's an event to cry, when there is a griefy situation, this guy doesn't cry. He instead smiles, ducks the situation, or he goes away. Where did he learn how to compensate one emotion to another? He learned it at an early age. So today, when he's using an alternate behavior to substitute the appropriate behavior, he doesn't even know he's doing it. That means he's desensitized to the original urge, and he's already using synesthesia to bring that imbalance. Clear?
Yes, it's clear. From the others, I would like to ask Ashwin, Jack, Karishma, Carrie, Simfong, do you have any questions? Anil likes interactive classes, so if you have any questions, please go.
I feel we'll stop the session in another 10 minutes because I'm not talking to anybody. There is nobody on the screen, so I don't know what I'm doing here. It's not my way of sharing when I don't find people, so I feel very stuck. People are very important.
Okay, Simfong is okay. Ashwin, you wanted to ask something? Okay.
Thank you. Jag, if that's the way you pronounce yourself. Or...
No questions until now, but if you are you would feel better to just on the camera and do an interactive session with the people, I can stop the live stream and we can just go on with the session inside the room, if it's better for all of you.
Oh yeah, camera is very good always. People on screen is always good. It gives a human moment.
Okay, let me see.
Okay, and for now, let's continue. So remember, this is what we call as the orgasm of life. That satisfaction is the orgasm of life. And if you take sex as a metaphor, and if you understand the concept of orgasm, you understand that that satisfaction is the orgasm which is there for every other aspect of our life. Have you heard how some people really get what they want in life, and then they're not very happy with it? They worked hard for it. They worked 6 months for it. They worked 6 years for it. They really they really got what they wanted to get. But after getting that, the award, the bike, the house, or the relationship, after getting that, they were not very kicked about it. So what really went wrong here? What really went wrong here? There is something that stopped their satisfaction. There is somewhere a block that they bought between the urge and the satisfaction. Between the urge and the satisfaction, they've installed some kind of blocks. Can you understand what are the blocks that you have installed in your life that is A, stopping you from getting the satisfaction, B, which is stopping you from reaching there? Sometimes some people don't even reach there, and sometimes people reach there, but they're unhappy. My question to you is, what are the blocks that you have installed? Some of the blocks are desensitization, where I don't even know I want to cry, where I don't even know I want to have sex, where I don't even know that I have to grow in life. Where some people say, I didn't even know I was so thin, or I didn't even know I was so fat, till one day that realization happened. So it's desensitization. Sometimes it is constantly keeping others' needs over my needs. I cannot live a happy life because my mother is not happy. I cannot have a greater marriage because my parents don't have a greater marriage. They don't outlive the existing parameters of satisfaction of the family because they feel that in some way they're dishonoring it. Clear? Clear?
Yes.
Yeah. Good. So well, what are the urges that we have installed in this journey of life? Yeah. And let's say sometimes people reach the satisfaction. And once you reach the satisfaction, it's time to withdraw and be present to another urge. Be present to another urge. That's what happens. Now, understand this. If life is normal, if everything is pink and purple, if everything is beautiful, what really happens? There's an urge. Then after the urge, the client experiences an awareness. Well, the awareness is what is telling the client that, yes, I am aware that I have an urge. And then comes the way the client thinks about, how do I mobilize? What do I do? How do I reach it? Now, mobilization is the game plan. It's a strategy that we work to reach that goal. And let's say it's a student who wants to go to the bathroom. Let's say it's a student who wants to go to the bathroom. So he's going to mobilize in his head. Well, I'll ask the teacher the permission. And I'll ask the teacher the permission only when she comes to this topic, because then she's going to ask questions so I can escape. So I will ask the teacher and I will run. So the child is making this schematic structure in this head, and that is called as mobilization. And after mobilization comes the action. After mobilization comes the action. Now the student will have to get up and run. Yeah, that's the action. But between mobilization and action, there is one more step, which is called as commitment to action. Sometimes in the head, I know I have to save the money. I have to then buy the house, but I'm not buying the house. But I've saved the money, but I'm not buying the house because I'm scared. What if I don't have money after I buy the house? So between mobilization and action, there is a small step called as commitment to action. And if you don't commit to action, that's the huge step here. If you don't commit to action, there is no action. And once you take that action, then at one point, it's like receiving the award. I've worked very hard in an organization to receive this award, and I received this award. So there's a final contact. The award is coming in my house. I'm standing in the urinal and I'm making the final contact. Yeah. Or I've got the house keys, or I always wanted to go out with her for coffee, and right now I'm in the coffee shop with her. It's the final contact. This comes the place of final contact, the final contact. Now, the question is, do people have satisfaction at the final contact, or did they or did they destroy that satisfaction at the final contact? You know, it's like me eating the tiramisu cheesecake and I'm saying, oh my God, so soft. And exactly after that, I stopped satisfaction by saying, it's so fattening. There is so much of calories. You know, so I installed a block between final contact and satisfaction. I installed a block between final satisfaction and between final contact and withdrawal. I did that over there. Am I clear here? Am I clear here? This is the normal way. This is the way in which we go through life. You know, I have an urge to do well in life. I have an urge to buy this house. Then I'm thinking, well, okay, we all have the urge, but I have an awareness now. I want the house. Then I'm going to mobilize it. Can I get a house here? What's the EMIs? How much money do I need to have? I mobilize. And then every day I get up and I say, oh, well, forget it. I don't want it. That means I'm not committing to action. But if I commit to action, then the question is, will I act? And when I act, when I get the bike, when I sit on the bike and somebody asks me, how's the bike? And I'll say, it's okay. There wasn't a satisfaction. There wasn't a utopia. There wasn't, I'm like, it's okay. That means there is some kind of a egotism installed over there. Am I clear here? So what is this session all about? This session is about understanding where have you installed your blocks, which stops the Gestalt cycle, which stops the completion of the formation of the design. Sometimes you say, I want to have dessert. It's like saying, I want to go and urinate. And then when you stand at the final drop of the urine falling off, what do you tell yourself? Oh my God, I shouldn't have come here. Now she's going to get so, you know, you've taken away the satisfaction of that experience. Or maybe some people would say and say, oh my God, wow, forget what's going to happen there. This moment should last forever. So the thing is, are you aware of the cycle of this movement, or are you trapped in the blocks? And that's the conversation I would like to have. My first question is, what is stopping you from achieving those urges? And sometimes these urges are very simple urges. In a marriage counseling, the couple comes to me and the couple tells me that we've not had sex for many days, many months. And I would look and the woman says, I know, but I don't want to let that happen. Now, there is a lack, and whatever the reason, we won't get there because that's a different topic. But is she aware of her needs? Yes. But what is she consciously telling herself? I will not. Not only will I will not to you, but also there is an I will not to me. So there are two sufferings. So we're installing these blocks so as to suffer in some way. And my question to you is, what are your blocks? Where are they? Etc. So come on, since there is at least one person, we can have this as a therapy session now.
I don't know whether I have blocks. Sometimes, yeah, maybe when I'm thinking what other people think about it, but then I'm just like, no matter
And
what,
to take simple
I'm
things.
just going for it.
Yeah, and the aim of this activity is to work with simple things, very, very simple things. You know, it's not to build, it's not to think, how did I block my bike? No, it's about how did you block your previous urine sensation? How did you decide to delay this and to pay attention to something else? How did you decide to not enjoy that bite of food kept in front? You know, the micro changes that you do is what will bring the mega differences.
Actually, Anil, I just
Yes.
want to ask one question. I have a block against my conscience. It's just that I don't have enough courage to confront my auntie. And I've been keeping it for almost like 30 years. And I'm telling my children I must confront her one day, and that day never came until today.
Yeah.
Nothing serious, it's just some kind of a confrontation that has been blocking me.
And my question to you, do you call yourself Gag?
Yeah, Jack. You can call me Jack.
Jag.
My name is Jagatiswari.
Jagati. Jag. So my question is very simple, Jag. My question is, what would happen or what would you lose if you confront your auntie?
Because she has been looking after us from young.
Got it.
So, yeah. So I'm giving her
enough
respect, but she has taken advantage over that respect.
But what would you lose? You're not answering my question.
I'm not losing anything. It's just that I want to tell her that the word that she has used doesn't exist in me anymore.
Okay, you're still not answering my question. Listen to my question. My question is, so you've told me why she's important. You've also told me what you want to tell her. My question is, what is stopping you from telling her that?
I'm scared.
I'm scared.
Yeah.
And what would happen if you tell her this?
We may not be in good terms after that. And she's my mother's sister.
Perfect. So, you know what is happening here? Notice what is happening here. Very simple. How is the block and what is the block? Remember, Andrea and me are going out. I want to have the tiramisu cheesecake and Andrea says chai and I say, okay, chai. What did I do? I kept her needs over my needs.
Okay.
You got the texture of your block. What you said is, she may feel bad. The relation will get strained. Currently, I am feeling bad. And the relationship is anyhow strained. And I'm not saying that because I'm afraid because the relation will get strained in the future. So what you're doing, Jag, is you're giving that importance to somebody else. Look at Samita. Okay, you're giving that importance to somebody else. And that's what changes a lot of things. Yeah, so it's a good way to understand where is the block. The block is, for me, their needs are important than my needs. And for me, what they think is more important than what I think. Yeah. And now the question you ask is, do I want to change? What do I want to change? And that begins everything. Yeah. Good. I think that was a good one.
Thank you.
What do you think?
Thank you, Anil. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
So
Samita, are you there? I'd so
we
like
have
to see
something
you.
from Simfong just to read it out. So, and then we can get to Samita. She was like, tell me what is the link here. I want to jump in. He's my favorite. So
I would
here
like to
we
talk
go.
to Samita. I'm so stuck, Samita. I don't have to see people here, and I'm talking to nobody.
Come on, we are not nobody. You were just talking to
Just two
Jag and me.
people. Thanks, Jack came up, just saved the awkward situation between me and Andrea. Yeah. You had a question, you said, Andrea.
Yes, I was just wanting to read out what Simfong was saying. So he was saying some people live life for somebody else, not themselves. And then he's saying Jeng is someone like this, living for someone else.
Yeah. We do live for someone else. That's okay. That's human nature. We dedicate our lives to somebody else, or we want to contribute to somebody else's life. But the question I want to ask is, are you sacrificing yourself in that game? Are you destroying your existence, needs, and what you stand for in that? And if yes, then something needs to be taken care there. Clear? Yeah. Otherwise, you may get the bike in the end, but you're still unhappy. So when does that feeling come that you really get what you want, but you're unhappy? When does that feeling come? That feeling comes because you place somebody else important than you. So even when the tea came, I'm not very happy because I still wanted the tiramisu. Am I clear? Am I clear?
Yes. Samita, do you have some questions? And let's give some activity.
No, I'm just so excited to see Anil in action. He always has so much of it.
I wish I could see you.
My hair is in a mess.
I'm sure it's a good mess.
I just quickly came online the minute I saw, like, oh my God, Anil.
Let me stop the live stream so that we can get a little bit more intimate. Thank you very much for those who are watching on YouTube. Next time you have to be into the Zoom room, which is available on the website. So I'm saying goodbye to Odigi. If you would like to join us, then please come to the Zoom room, which is available in the schedule.